Hey, what's going on? I just want to quickly give an update, kind of a life update, and maybe shed some inspiration to those who've kept up with me. I know it's been a journey. I've had this campaign that I'm running as far as turning a new leaf, changing and turning my life around for the better, staying away from trouble, staying out of the streets, I guess they would call it, just participating in activities that don't benefit you, right? Out partying, going out to clubs and different events. And there's no judgment here. If you do, I have friends that go out to the bars, and especially it's football season, so they'll go grab a drink at the bar. No judgment here at all. These are just life decisions that I've taken. So a lot of people know me as a believer, and I am a Christian first because it was at the church doors that I got the vision to become a realtor. It came upon me literally like an epiphany. It was a moment of going back into school. That's all that was on the forefront of my mind. Going to get a 4-year degree in business was exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm getting ready to lock myself in and commit myself. I already had, luckily I had some assistance because my family comes from a lower social class as far as how much income they bring in. So I qualified for some grants and some scholarships that they were going to give me. So I could go to Normandale College. If you are from the area, you know Normandale College very well. But I was going to go ahead and get some scholarship money, and I was going to go for a business degree. But it was during that time where I really was praying, and I was really trying to hone in on my goals and just figure out what I wanted for myself. And looking at the plan from a long-term perspective, I realized I wanted something more active, something more hands-on, something I can get more invested into day to day, and I'd be applying right away. So real estate was the route I went. I always knew in the future that I wanted to invest into real estate. However, little did I know that I was going to become a real estate agent. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you know. So I am a believer. I do real estate, and how I got started in real estate is after I took the test, miraculously I passed the test on my first try. Now there's 3 tests that you have to take in Minnesota. It's been a while. It was 2019, and I'm kind of a good test taker, I guess you could say. Not really. I didn't go to college necessarily, so that tells you a little bit about what I feel about taking tests. But anyway, I passed all my tests, which a lot of people don't pass on their first time until the last one. The last test through the state took me about 4 times before I passed it. But after I got over that hurdle, I was like a telephone marketer. I was calling a bunch of people who were renting. So they were renting a place, and they were interested in a rent-to-own program or just an alternative program to get them out of the renting situation where all your money is given to a landlord for years on years and your payments aren't going towards anything that you will actually own. It's said, later on I've learned this in life now, that income is nothing because you have money. Income, the funny thing about income is it likes to leave. So really assets is what you're after. Things that you own, things that'll give you a return on investment, like email lists, houses, things that you actually own. Keep those. So that's what a couple of mentors have already instilled in me and taught me, and I'm sure there's several others that'll agree with that. But what that did was it actually stirred up something inside of me that actually was like, you know what? How can we go to the next level, and how can we provide more resources to people with lower credit scores? Maybe that they don't have 5-10% of a down payment saved up. So what that meant was going to different lenders, networking, finding different down payments, programs, scholarships, grants, similar to, I guess, the grant that they were going to give me to go to college that I didn't take, thankfully. But anyway, so that's where I started in real estate. It has expanded and evolved into more resources that I'm able to provide for others. And ultimately what it's done is it's led me down the path to where I've helped several people who didn't know they were going to qualify for a mortgage get out of the renting situation and turn them into homeowners. So this was a little bit before all the prices were inflated, which, by the way, my personal opinion is they're not that bad, but I'll let your own world view stay the way it is. If you think that the prices are inflated, hey, I'm not going to try to change that. But anyway, I was helping families get into homes before all of this happened, and actually we're continuing to do so. However, the great part about numbers is they don't lie. There's a lot of mathematicians that love numbers for that reason. So a property value is a property value. You can clearly see if somebody's paying too much for a property just by the information and the empirical data. You can pull all these numbers. And the families that I have helped in this year, in 2021, during the pandemic, we got all these properties for underneath market value. So, and in particular, I have a client that I'm working with right now who it's just been miracle upon miracle on their house search to finding the home to getting the appraisal back and having the appraisal far above what we purchased the house for, getting some seller paid closing costs wrapped in even in this crazy hot tight market. The reason why it's hard to get seller paid closing costs wrapped in is simply because the sellers have the leverage because there's so many different buyers right now. When there's so many buyers, sellers have more control because they're able to pick and choose which buyer or which offer they want. So it's hard to get your offer accepted right now with seller paid closing costs. Is it mission impossible? No. Is it happening left and right? Yes. It's just not as common as seen in the past. So, but for this client in particular, we were able to get some seller pays and contribution to, the overall deal. So that's kind of the standpoint that we're at right now. I currently myself rent, so I give my money. Thankfully, it's split. My rent is split in half, but I give my money to a landlord, and ultimately, I'm not really building anything for myself. So, as my clients know, and my personal sphere knows that I am actively doing everything in my power to get a piece of real estate, so I can have that asset, and it really is an asset because it appreciates, meaning it goes up in value each year, as well as there's different ways you can leverage that asset. Obviously, if you can't afford a mortgage, then that's a different story. Don't ever put yourself in a position to where you can't afford your mortgage. But all in all, rent right now is skyrocketed to the point where a mortgage might even save you money rather than going the rental route. So really and throughout my career so far, in just the couple of years that I have been involved in the industry, and by the way, I've only done about a dozen transactions. Each one of them were nice, long, drawn out. We had a plan, and I helped each family individually. I've got to focus a lot more on individual needs, wants, and making sure I'm paying attention to people and exactly what they're looking for. So it's been actually a blessing that I haven't been out of control, overly whelmed with work. I'm not complaining at all. There's been ups and downs, slow periods, times where I am super, super busy, but not too busy to where I can't focus in on somebody. Again, I haven't done a lot of real estate agents like to make it out like they're doing so much business and it's just living this crazy lavish life as a real estate agent. That's not the case at all for me. I help families gradually. I focus in on one and we get the job done, and I open up the gates again and we have another family or a couple families that will help. But where we're going is we're continuing to press into this this form of real estate where we're consistently going to win houses underneath market value. So even in a market like we're in right now, or even that's coming up, that's going to hit in the spring, my clients are going to be consistently educated throughout the process so that they're able to make sure that they're capitalizing on a home, and that in 3 to 5 years, when they want to sell that home with Jason, that it's worth more than what they paid for, right? A lot more. They're going to get an investment back. They're going to actually reap rewards from seeds that were planted, whereas a lot of buyers are going around right now throwing in offers that are too high, and when they go to sell their property, there's not going to be any equity there, and it's going to be very upsetting. I'd hate to be the agent behind that client, and just thinking of the missed out referrals and just the bad taste in their mouth and how terrible that's going to go doesn't suit me at all. So my career started with helping people get into homes that didn't think that they were going to get into homes. And then where we're at now is we help clients score homes at a price where they didn't think that they were going to score a home at that price. And where we're going is we're going to continue this route. We're not going to let up. We're not going to just throw in an offer $20,000 over on a property that's mediocre because we think that we're not going to find another one. I'm going to keep my clients educated and up to date. But just on a personal note, I've been fluctuating back and forth with my gym program. I'm working on it, but moral of the story is it's super important to fit that in. I was doing it in the mornings for the last couple of years on and off, and now I'm fitting it in the evenings. And what I also want to do is just come give some life updates, because I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs that I keep up with, and I just want to make sure that they know that this is a lifestyle. You have to integrate everything within this lifestyle of being an entrepreneur. You have to balance out your relationships. It's highly important that you're talking to family, that you're keeping up with family. If you keep up with a prayer life, it's amazing, because oftentimes in that prayer life, you'll get insight and you'll be able to meditate and filter out thoughts, and then think about those that are dearly important to you and keep up with them as well. So just in a nutshell, that's everything that's been going on. 2021, through its deficits and tragedies, there's been a lot of victories and wins. And at the end of the day, goodness will prevail. Since when did we let darkness or evil speak louder than good, right? We don't. Good always outweighs evil. A little bit of light in a very dark room will shine bright. You can't miss that light anywhere. So I encourage you to be that light. I encourage you to put yourself up on a hill so you are seen by nations. Just embrace your gifts, embrace your talents. For now, I'm going to leave it at that. You guys have a blessed evening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.